Our Fox News voter analysis shows that somewhere between 5 in 10 and 6 in 10 of those Nikki Haley voters say they won't vote for Trump in November. If even a fraction of those voters deliver on that promise and stay home or vote third party or just split their votes or something, Trump loses.
Trump loses. Again, I love those words. And so that was some analysis coming out of primary elections from Florida, Ohio, Arizona, Illinois, and Kansas. So, Ohio being a major swing state. And it turns out that Nikki Haley did better than many people thought, even though she is technically out of the race. She brought in over 500,000 votes. And in each state, between 10 to 25% of primary voters did go out to vote, but they did not pull the lever for Trump. Now, like the commentator said, you have to just continue that energy and we shall see. I've told John Iadarola that I feel that this will be actually a quite low voter turnout year. And unlike 2020, it's just a matter of which candidate loses more votes, Biden or Trump, which candidate's base stays home. But hey, this is what we've got. Welcome to democracy in heavy quotations.
Before we continue with the story, we depend on members to keep on going. Don't wait, click join now on YouTube.
Let's look at the stats. 20% of the Ohio GOP primary voters would be dissatisfied, they said, with Trump as the nominee. This is according to Newsweek, in Newsweek. 22% say he lacks the temperament to serve effectively. God, only 22. And 28% he wouldn't be fit for office if convicted of a crime. 18% say they wouldn't support Trump in November, with 10% of that number preferring Biden and 8% saying they wouldn't vote for either. 10% is not nothing to flip. Remember, nationally in 2020, 6% of Republicans actually voted for Biden. Cause he believed that they should be alive and stuff, I assume. Much of the criticism of Trump comes from Haley voters who did turn out despite her departure from the race. Absentee voting opened in Ohio February 21st. Again, folks have been voting for a while. 2 weeks before she suspended her campaign, 8 in 10 say they wouldn't vote for him, Trump, in either the general election, with 47% preferring Biden and 32% saying they wouldn't vote for either candidate. Just 18% of Haley voters say they'd vote for Trump in the fall. That is not a lot. Now, again, a lot of these elections did not have close primaries, meaning Democrats and independents could sway the results in November, obviously. But in Florida, there's also an interesting Haley little boost here. 19% of the Florida GOP primary voters voted for a candidate that wasn't Trump, including their, God, emperor, whether they like it or not, Ron DeSantis, who got 3.7%. But Nikki Haley pulled 155,000 votes, 463,000 votes. Donald Trump ran away with it, of course, but it's that little fraction that you need. Sharon, tell me if I'm wrong, to go out to vote and to actually not leave it blank, but vote actively for Nikki Haley, even though she's out of the race, feels a little bit like a protest vote to me against this nominee.
That's exactly where I was going. And I think there are some telltale signs. It's early. We do have to account for non-Republicans showing up in a primary. But for Republicans who decide that they are going to leave their homes on election day and cast a ballot for two candidates who have dropped out, they quit, I think it is telling, because they're either going to stay home when it comes to November, November 4th, or they're going to vote for the other guy. Yeah. And I think it's very telling. Again, it's early. Who knows, okay? There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation between now and then, and we'll see. But when you're writing in candidates or pulling the lever for people who aren't even in the race, you might want to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and no, that is important to know. And I was, to be clear, Democrats and independents could have come out, voted for Haley. But that Florida number, that doesn't look good. A Biden spokesperson actually had this to say: Republicans around the country are turning against Donald Trump. We're seeing it every day. Lifelong conservatives won't put up with his insanity anymore. To moderate Republicans, conservatives, and Nikki Haley voters, we'll welcome you with open arms to the Biden side. Now, I get this as a strategy. I don't know. I think a lot of them would not vote for Biden no matter what, because they think he is a communist prop of the CCP or something like this. But I also, just as a progressive, as someone who would like to see Biden move to the left on a lot of issues like immigration, which we're gonna be talking about, like this ongoing genocide in Gaza, I see the writing on the wall here, which is Biden is like, nah, I don't really want the youth vote. I don't really care that people of color might not be voting for me or staying home. I want that Republican vote. I want that Republican vote. I want that centrist vote. I want the people who are sick of Donald Trump. I want that conservative or that centrist Republican, ire to go in my direction. That's the way I'm reading it. And as much as that annoys the hell out of me, Sharon, because I believe that Democrats' strongest weapon is the youth vote and is people of color. And every time the youth vote or people of color don't come out to vote as much as the establishment would like, we're always browbeaten. We're always told that we should fall in line. Why didn't we do anything? What's wrong with us? And it's like, well, we've been saying the issues we care about for months now, and they've fallen on deaf ears because y'all are more concerned with getting the disaffected Trump voter. So, hey, I don't know.
I agree with you again. Why don't you clean up your own house before you start courting someone else? In this regard, the Biden administration is like a man going through a marital separation, giving advice to the next guy who's thinking about pulling the trigger or perhaps staying in marriage or getting married. You need to worry about the people who have been there for you, who have said, listen, we don't like what's going on, Gaza, Netanyahu, whatever it is, we're not happy with you. And for you to then go out and court these other people who, at least one of whom didn't even understand the root of civil war, is rich. Yes. It really makes me very angry. You're still not getting it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said I think it will be, even though I would not personally advocate for this, I do think it'll be low voter turnout. I think everyone should vote. I think look, whatevs, you know what I'm saying? This is a horrible system we live in, and we have to make it minimally less horrible. Also, it's fun to vote against Donald Trump. However, I do think it will be a low voter turnout. So we shall see. We're gonna keep tabs on all of these stats. It'll be interesting.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.